Hey YouTube, coming into the Great League team that I just used yesterday. I'm just gonna start the battles because I'm in like the 2400 range because I tanked during Catch Cup, and then I like my opponents during these battles make some mistakes that you wouldn't expect in like the higher ups. So some of these matches that I won, I were borderline anyways. But I want to talk about the team and strategy and why it actually probably didn't work as strong as much as I wanted to. So the team is Shadow Swampert, Sableye, Shadow Charizard. And if you watch my top Ultra League teams video yesterday, I mentioned that in the Ultra League, one of my favorite teams to run is Shadow Swampert, Shadow Charizard, and something like Cresselia, right? Where you can just like hit them with the Hydros, hit them with the Blast Burns, and have like Cresselia just like absorb. That was a nice earthquake on the Shadow Venus right there. So that is one of the strategies that I liked in and a nice catch on Drowan. So like I did make some nice plays here. Um, so that is one of the strategies that I liked in Ultra League. Sableye, you can argue, is not the most tanky Pokemon, but it's like a good safe swap. Like I could have used probably Lickitung. Like if I wanted to try and recreate that exact same scenario, I would have used Lickitung. That being said, Shadow Swampert and Shadow Charizard don't have the same bulk to hit ratio that they do in the Great League, in the Ultra League, like the Great League, like they do in the Ultra League. And what I mean by that is a lot of the times you're going to see here, um, when you're in the Ultra League, your Shadow Swampert and Shadow Charizard are probably around level somewhere between like 32 and 36. Um, so if you're going against level 50 Pokemon, it is not as bad taking the damage, right? You have a little more health. You can take a little more of charge moves, more fast moves, stuff like that. In the Great League, these probably are sitting at level 17, 18, somewhere around there. Yet you're still going against level 40, level 45, level 50 Pokemon in the Great League. And the problem with that is like, just give you an example of like the Shadow Swampert versus Medilead, is that Medi can just like, it still takes two Hydros to take out a Medi. Um, but if you just have your Shadow Swampert on a normal Medi, Medi can basically just go counter an Ice Punch and beat you because those counters add up so much. And it's the same thing with Charizard. Like you're gonna see eventually, like I think I win the matchup, but you're gonna see I come in with the Charizard versus a Vigoroth, and a Body Slam from a Vigoroth does like 70 something percent on a Shadow Charizard. So the problem in the Great League is that these Pokemon are just too glassy to use that strategy of double glassy Pokemon plus a harder hitting Pokemon. If you're gonna use, I don't mind using one or the other. I've mentioned now I like using normal Swampert. I used to use, if you've been around this channel for a while, you know that I've used Shadow Swampert almost exclusively in the Great League for years and years and years. But I now prefer the normal Swampert because of um, that sort of mini matchup in particular. There was a reason, and the Lantern matchup. So having used both Swampert, Shadow Swampert, and regular Swampert, the difference in the matchup is regular Swampert still takes two Hydros to take out Medi, so you'll do better there and take less counter damage. So that's a better matchup for normal Swampert. Lickitung matchup, it is actually better for Shadow Swampert because it only takes two Hydros to take out a Lickitung with Shadow Swampert, but it takes three with the normal. So the Shadow Swampert actually beats Lickitung. In the um, in the Lantern matchup, if you are a Shadow Swampert and they shield up Earthquake a couple times, they can flip that matchup, right? So just because the Spark and Surf damage will actually add up quite a bit. And then if you ever get like, not that this is talking about the main meta, but if you get like, I think one of these, this is a Powder Snow one, but if you get like a Charm Ninetales against your Charm Swampert, you basically get one Hydro off, and then they will get to their charge move or just basically take you out before you get to a second one. So that's kind of the limitations of the Shadow Pokemon like Swampert and Charizard. They still hit like trucks, and you've You just saw earlier Swampert one-shot Earthquake a Venusaur, Shadow Venusaur. You saw Charizard one-shot a Steelix. These two still hit like trucks, but just keep in mind that it's not like Ultra League where you have level 35 Pokemon going against level 50 Pokemon. You have level like 17 Pokemon going against level 50 Pokemon, and you feel it on these hits. Like I'm pretty sure I get hit with an Aerial Ace and it does over 50%. Not quite, but like you're basically at 50% right now. So the strategy of using both of these realistically does not work in the Great League. I think using one of these is fine. I think they're both fun to use. Like I had fun using them today, but I don't think that this actual strategy works. So that is basically it. And just stuff like this, right? I could have probably gotten to 2 Hydros there to throw both of them and still take out that Superior, but now that super effective Vine Whip just like destroyed Swampert. And it's just the little things like that. And same thing with this matchup. It's the little things like the counter on the Vigoroth there will adds up way more in the Swampert, and that it's just basically counter and one body slam, take it out. And there you go. There's the body slam that I talked about, that it does like 70%, right? I'm in the deep yellow taking resisted counters after having to take that body slam. So I will get to a move, but then I'm just like deep red. So if you're going to use either of these, I would suggest using them with bulky Pokemon. You know who the bulky Pokemon are: Medi, Lickitung, Lantern, stuff like that, right? Put in Lantern instead of Swampert on the front. Something like that. So that is basically it. I have a Master League team with Rayquaza coming this afternoon that I did weeks ago. Like 3 or 4 weeks ago, last time Master League was here. So stay tuned for that. And then this week is going to be a mixture of, I'll try and do 2 videos every day. I don't know if I'll be able to actually pump all of them out between just work and kids and life and stuff like that. I will try to pump out 2 videos. So the Master League that you're going to see this afternoon is shot like weeks ago. And then I know for sure, just looking through my saved stuff that I've done in the past like 2 weeks, I have on my own one more Great League with Zangoose. I've already done a showcase to short on that. I have Zangoose Great League. I've got 3 Ultra League teams. One with double, one with the Virizion Cobalion backline, and one was like an all level 50 team, Umbreon, Pidgeot, and something like that. So I have 3 Ultra League teams, 1 Great League team. I've saw a bunch of submissions come through, and the submissions are kind of useless next season if there is a substantial move update to shake the meta up, right? Not that I'm expecting it, but if you're showcasing something that either gets nerfed or buffed, or some other Pokemon comes in that makes your Pokemon a little less useful, it's kind of useless to showcase next season. So I'm going to try to showcase all the battles that I've done, plus all your battles that you submitted in the Great League and Ultra League. And I'm going to try to do that this week. So stay tuned for a bunch of videos. And then, of course, the news drop. We will get a news drop for the new season. The new season turns over again on Friday. I hate these Friday turnovers. They can make it much more difficult to shoot videos and stuff like that. But the league turns over on Friday. I expect, if it's Niantic, best case scenario, Monday. Realistically, Tuesday, maybe Wednesday. I think my gut feeling is it's Tuesday because I'm going to be in the office on Tuesday. So that is why my gut feeling is telling me it is going to be a Tuesday drop for news. And then I'll do like a super long video. If I'm home and the news comes out, I'll just shoot a video, a quick one, and release it immediately just to get the news out. If I'm not home and I'm in the office, stay tuned for like a super long, in-depth 45-50 minute video the next day talking about the different move updates and what it means for Pokemon and stuff like that. And then we'll roll into next season and we'll see how that goes. I said they're level, I keep saying they're level 18, 19. I just want to confirm what Shadow Charizard and Shadow Swampert actually are. So Shadow Swampert 8. Yep, Shadow Swampert is not with these IVs, but okay, let's check these IVs. 0, 12, 8 is a 19, level 19. And Charizard Shadow with IVs of 1, 14, 15 is level 19. Yep, so they're both level 19 Pokemon. And that's the thing. So I always said when I talk about stat product, you need to have Beast of Moves or like stat product over 2000. And Shadow Swampert is 121 attack, 108 defense, 135 stamina for 1780 overall. And Shadow Charizard is 130 attack, 108 defense, 117 stamina for 1662 overall, right? And really, the only reason they even have play in this meta is because they have Mudshot Hydro Cannon and Wing Attack Blast Burn. If they did not have those movesets, these two would be nowhere to be found because the stat product is not conducive for Great League right now, right? Like, look at the top meta Pokemon. Metacham, overall stat product, 2103 with 140 defense and 141 stamina. Lantern, 194 stamina makes it a 2131 overall. Lickitung, 126 defense, 183 stamina, 2283 overall. Superior, 143 defense, 128 stamina, 2000 overall stat product, 2026. Did I do Lantern yet? Did I do Lantern? 194 stamina, 2131 overall, right? It just, they're nowhere close in terms of stat products compared to these other Pokemon. So if you're going to be that glassy, you better have a moveset to go with it. And Swampert and Charizard do. And others don't, right? And that's why they're sort of unusable. And that's why if you're going to buff other Pokemon, you really need to give them a moveset that they can compete with these XLs, right? It's a very stat, this Great League is a very stat focused league. As soon as XLs were invented, it's a very stat focused league. And then the moveset accounts for the rest. So that's why all your top Pokemon are either good stat product Pokemon or Pokemon with just like a very, very good moveset. And then you have all the Pokemon in like the level 70, 80 range, which either just don't have either, right? They're missing one or the other in particular, where they have like an okay moveset and an okay stat product. Well, unfortunately, okay and okay is not good enough for the Great League. So that's just my thoughts. We'll let these final battles play out. 3 minutes left in battles. There's some, if you're gonna use these Pokemon, there's some things that you need to like understand about the matchups, right? Like Shadow Swampert going against Sableye. If you're using a non-Shadow Swampert, then you have to like Beta Hydro and land an Earthquake. If you're using a Shadow Swampert, you can like take it in the 2 shield, just going Mudshot and 1 Hydro. Like it's the little things like that. So whenever I see a comment in the being like, does Shadow matter? The majority of the time it does not. Sometimes it does. I actually did a whole video on it. So next time you have a question of does the Shadow Pokemon matter, I actually did a whole video on whether Shadow Pokemon matter or not. In the end, for stuff like Swampert, it was just like no. It just depends on the matchup. Same thing with like Gligar, Shadow Gligar versus regular Gligar. You win some more, you lose some as well. So it's kind of a wash. It just depends on the matchups. And then there's Pokemon where it like matters 100% of the time. And that is like Shadow Abomasnow, where it matters. Like you really want Shadow Machamp, where you're doing that counter damage. It matters. So for the most Pokemon, it doesn't matter. Some Pokemon doesn't. Unlike Swampert, where I actually prefer the regular now, I don't know. Can you use non-Shadow Charizard? Yes. Would I use non-Shadow Charizard? I mean, if I didn't have a Shadow Charizard, I think Charizard in general with this moveset is good. But man, getting that extra Blast Bird, like 20% Shadow bonus damage, is huge. And look at this is like a Water Gun Lantern where the water guns are chipping, surf would do a significant damage, and I'm just getting to the earthquake. So I can bait once, and I remember them shielding, and I go to the second earthquake, and I land it, but they shield anyways. And now it's like I would not be able to get to the move. Maybe I can get to the move before they get to the third surf because I baited once. But like again, look at that water gun damage. I think I switch out here because I don't think I can get to the earthquake before, or I let it go. I don't think I can get to the earthquake before they water gun me down because it's just doing too much on the shadow. Um, on the shadow, like the shadow damage is doing too much. The water guns are doing too much on Swampert because it is a shadow Pokemon and it's just taking much more damage. Is what I am trying to say. If I can talk. It's been a long week. Get this return off. This will take it out. No, it just leaves it a little bit of health, which is actually nice because I get the full farm down with Charizard, which is nice if the Lantern comes back in. But I think they kind of make a mistake here because they're just letting me get another extra 5 wing attacks through to get to this Blast Burn. Blast Burn's going to one-shot. There's a boom. I know I didn't actually talk about Charizard booming, but Charizard boomed a lot of Pokemon in this meta. And like today. That's probably going to be my title. Charizard's boom does not care about your typing. But that is it. So last week, appreciate you guys still watching because I know others are struggling for views and it's understandable. That's it. So we're going to end it here and we'll check out the Master League team this afternoon, check out more Great League and Ultra League teams the rest of the week, and I will see you guys in the next one.